Across the tracks. Across the tracks. It's time to go. We're going across the tracks. James Gordon, welcome to Across the Tracks and talking Great Lakes Odyssey with me.
I'm thrilled to be here.
Brilliant. I want to talk about, you have an amazing bio, a totally amazing bio. But I really want to speak among all of what you've done between producer, playwright, writer, activist, theater director, et cetera, I want to talk to you as a politician.
Okay.
A politician who plays music and is an artist.
Yeah.
And I specifically want to talk about a record you released in 2020, Emergency Climate, the musical.
Right.
The winters are colder and the summer's too warm. Seems like every season we get 100-year storm. Water is rising, water is rising. The fishery's gone and the tourists are too. We had to sell the store. What else could we do? Water is rising. Water is rising. They tell us not to worry. Things like this happen, and it'll be better next year. But they said that about the buffalo. I think we've heard enough to know that the good old days, they're not coming back round here. My brother in Vicksburg says the fields are too wet. They won't get off a crop, but you know who says it ain't bad yet. Water is rising. Water is rising. And out on the coast, they got wildfires and drought. How can anybody say that they still have their doubt? Water is rising. Water is rising. They tell us not to worry. Things like this happen, and it'll be better next year. But they said that about the buffalo. I think we've heard enough to know that the good old days, they're not coming back round here. Over in Africa, they're getting it the worst. Why does it always seem that the poor folks get it first? Water is rising. Water is rising.
So let's just give us a background on how that record came to be. And I notice, ironically, it was released just prior to the pandemic being announced.
I think that's true, yeah. Well, I can tell you where it all started was, you're quite correct. I had a side hustle for 8 years as a elected official here in Guelph as a city councilor, and also in traveling the world as a touring road warrior artist. I think I was more aware than some of my fellow politicians about the immediacy of our climate crisis, because you'd see it wherever you go. It'd be in the air, it'd be in the water, and I wanted to use the experience I gained as a politician trying to navigate those changing waters, to see how using my craft as a musician could turn that into something that would be a good conversation. So it actually started as a touring one-man show where I was performing the songs, having conversations with the audience, showing videos and things like that. And then, as you alluded to, COVID hit. So it kind of moved online. I actually did a whole tour that you might have found fun. I did a tour never leaving my studio here, because each week we were aiming towards a different community that had its own particular climate issues. So I would do my show, but we would adapt it to suit the environment that was in that area, and folks would attend online from those communities. And I think it really helped to change the level of the conversation. And then I put all the songs together so that people like you could discover them and work with them as a digital album.
Clean it up, green it up, find a new vision and dream it up. Get behind the wheel, come on, don't you feel we can make it real with the Green New Deal? We gotta get off our consumerist asses, reduce our use of greenhouse gases, gotta cut to the chase and find the fastest way to turn this ship around and get to 100% renewable by 2030. We think it's doable. Hey, billionaires, we're no longer screwable. Dudes, you're going down. Clean it up, green it up, find a new vision and dream it up. Get behind the wheel, come on, don't you feel we can make it real with the Green New Deal? What we've been doing is clearly not working. Our so-called leadership has been shirking its duties, but they will be jerking us around no more. 'Cause we're gonna make those polluters pay. We're gonna find a brand new way. We've got a little planet to save, so come on, get on board. We can turn our despair into elation with a massive organized mobilization that joins us together right across the nation with a plan that'll serve our next generation. Filled with hope and innovation, we can put a stop to our frustration, because there is every indication that a little bit of collaboration, a little bit of cooperation, a little community animation, a little meaningful conversation can put that new train at the station that can lead us to a positive destination. It won't be a picnic, won't be a vacation. Here is my big invitation to work towards a total transformation. We need to build a new foundation built on a commitment to conservation and getting off oil with our transportation built on trust and reconciliation. In my humble estimation, the Green New Deal, that new sensation, is gonna be the inspiration we need to avoid eternal damnation. Clean it up, green it up, find a new vision and dream it up. Get behind the wheel, come on, don't you feel we can make it real with the Green New Deal? We can make it real with the Green New Deal. Yeah. All of our tears, they could fill a stream that would flow to a sea of sorrow. All of our fears, all of our dashed dreams, it's hard to be sure of tomorrow. We fall and rise, we fall and rise, with all our hearts and all our minds. We call in hope into our lives. We fall and we rise. We have the power of community, and you can see it all around in our darkest hour. It can lead you and me to higher ground. We fall and rise, we fall and rise, with all our hearts and all our minds. We call in hope into our lives. We fall and we rise at such a cost. We've been driven by greed. We have built a machine that destroys. Our spirit's been lost, but we can find our way. If we all can make a joyful noise. We fall and rise, we fall and rise, with all our hearts and all our minds. We call in hope into our lives. We fall and we fall and rise. We fall and rise, with all our hearts and all our minds. We call in hope into our lives. We fall and we rise.
Yeah, I love the way you've structured the whole record. It's kind of like a 3-act play. It is a musical after all.
Sure.
Yeah, you can identify the problem. Where are we? How did we get here? Where do we go from here? Then you kind of figure that out, and we figure out that, well, there's a couple of ideas, a couple of plans. You explore those two sides, and then, at the end, like, how does it get resolved? But I wanted to ask, really, is once you went through that and you structured it that way, how did you determine to speak to the whole issue of the climate change, again, as a politician, but, I have to say it's highly comical as well.
Good. Yeah, well, I use comedy all the time, and humor, even with serious issues, because as a politician, I learned the last thing anyone wants to do is just listen to a boring speech. So I'm lucky that I can have a guitar in hand and spice things up a little bit, and the humor and the sort of angles that you can offer through songwriting give a different perspective that I think engages people a little bit more. And I should say, you talk about the structure. I'm grateful that you noticed that. I'm very influenced. It's even in the show on one of the slides is the quote from Greta Thunberg, who says that, we have to move forward as if our house is on fire. My adaptation of those words of hers are that if we think the house is burning down no matter what's going to keep us engaged with the issue and keep trying to do something about it? So you have to offer an element of hope that there's a way to put that fire out if we all work together. And that's kind of what I was aiming for. Scare the living daylights out of everybody with some facts and figures, and then look at ways that we can mitigate those challenges.
Keep them stupid if they're uneducated. It's easier to keep them subjugated. Keep them all in ignorant bliss. They won't see we're headed for the abyss. Keep them stupid, stupid, then they won't see that there's a climate change emergency. Keep their IQ low, then they'll believe that it's just an elitist conspiracy. Give them religion so they don't murder the rich. We need a lower class who will still dig a ditch. Tell them you'll give them $1 a beer, and they won't care if it's hot around here. Keep them stupid, stupid, then they won't see that there's a climate change emergency. Keep their IQ low, then they'll believe that it's an elitist conspiracy. If they start talking about renewable resources, cancel all those research courses. If a study shows that the Earth's at risk, time to fire another scientist. Make it harder for them to go to college. Nothing good comes from all that knowledge. Tell them that the money's gonna trickle down. Tell them that the water is supposed to be brown. Better to keep them in the dark. Make sure they're getting lower marks. Cut funding to the universities, the public schools and nurseries. Then you raise a generation that doesn't have the education to get the kind of critical thinking that lets them see the poison they're drinking. Look out, here comes an actual journalist. Be afraid, run away. They might speak the truth, they might influence youth. Who knows what they might say? Call them fake news, call them terrorists too. Get rid of the leftist press. They might notice that we've made a mess. Keep them stupid, stupid, then they won't see that there's a climate change emergency. Keep their IQ low, then they'll believe that it's an elitist conspiracy. Don't wanna get quizzical, quizzical. Don't wanna get quizzical, quizzical. Let's not get into quizzical. If you wanna rant, if you wanna get mad, those guys who are lurking in the backroom shadows, you can't see them, but they're insidious. They are the ones, it is not us idiots. They're looting our country and ripping out its heart. It isn't us, do you think we are that smart? We seem to be enslaving you, but we have got a master. Follow the money and you'll find those bastards. We're just puppets, can't you see? We're just there so it looks like democracy. If you wanna make a change that's gonna last, find the guys who have their hands up a puppet's ass. Find the guys who have their hands up a puppet's ass. Here's a mistake you've been making for years. Don't go for the puppets, get the puppeteers. You'll find them in the boardrooms of the big fat bankers. Find them where the pipelines are filling oil tankers. We're just puppets, can't you see? We're just there so it looks like democracy. If you wanna make a change that's gonna last, find the guys who have their hands up a puppet's ass. Find the guys who have their hands up a puppet's ass. Okay, maybe we are dicks, maybe we don't care, but if you get rid of us, they'll put another one in there. We're not the illness, we're a symptom of it. Find out who's the they and tell them to shove it. We're just puppets, can't you
mission accomplished, certainly to my ears, for sure. So let's kind of go through it, if we could, in 3 acts.
Sure.
And let's identify the problem and how you come out with how and the 10 years. And
right.
Let's identify the problem and as you see it.
Yeah. So I think if you talk about the first song is called How, I just pulled up the song list on my computer here so I can remember them myself. But I think as a politician, I learned that one of the biggest challenges to get people aware and willing to contribute to do something about climate change is that it looks like a sacrifice to change the way we already live our lives. And yet it's the way we live our lives that has caused this problem. So the song How is really, in these new challenging times, how do we live our lives in a way that we feel that we're sustainable and have the quality of life we want, but also that doesn't give an overly large carbon footprint to the planet that we're trying to live on, right? So asking that question right off the bat was how are we going to do this? How are we going to live our lives? I think my hope was that would be an undercurrent throughout the show that people would be thinking about, and then at the end looking for solutions or different ways forward.
We're staring a hurricane in the eye. Temperatures and tempers are running high. Banks and wells are running dry. How do we live our lives? Do we just take the money and run? Move to the country, buy a gun, wait for the day of judgment to come? How do we live our lives? If it's all coming down, tell me how do we live our lives now? Do we go after the consumerists, the ones who got us into this? Show them another way exists. How do we live our lives? Do we try to keep our footprint small? Could we make a farm out of that mall? Is there anything we can do at all? How do we live our lives? If it's all coming down, tell me how do we live our lives now? Do we abandon this sinking Titanic to a leader who just says, don't panic? Do we try to go local, green and organic? How do we live our lives? Do we confront the climate change deniers? Quit preaching only to the choir. Crank it up just a little bit higher. How do we live our lives? If it's all coming down, tell me how
And then in asking the how, of course, we have to examine where we are. And you're traveling throughout the land, as you mentioned earlier, and what you had seen.
Yeah.
But that's your personal experience. A lot of people haven't done that travel. So,
Right.
We have that situation where they need to be educated in that sense. Like, this is
That's
a problem over this many miles or half a country over, or really in your backyard when you pay attention to it. And so, and with your experience, having already done this for so many years, I always marvel. We spoke with Ian Tamlin a little while ago, and I'm very sure that you and him must have had many a conversation on this.
Oh, sure. For sure, yeah.
You've been seeing it for so long, and here it is, and now really it's like, boy, we could have acted on this earlier, but the urgency. Speak to that a little bit now that you've done the whole trip, and we're in an urgent state now.
Yeah. Well, ironically, for looking at the songs in the show, the very next song after that, how it's called 10 Years Left, which is actually a joke now. Look, that 10 years came from, who's the organization that puts that doomsday clock together?
Right.
And they say, here's how many years left we have before we're toast if we don't change our direction. But now that was probably 5 years ago. So there's different opinions on whether it's too late or not, but making people aware that that what you're seeing around you, it might look like, okay, maybe it's hotter in the summer, but what does that actually mean? What is happening, and what are the possibilities of doing something with it? The third song points to that. There's an irony. The third song is called Water is Rising. And you've probably noticed this too, Adrian, that sometimes the biggest climate change deniers are the ones who actually could look out their window and see it right in their face. But and so the song Water is Rising was based on farmers down in southern United States, in Trump country, a lot of them who had been deniers right up until they were either up to their necks in water or knee deep in mud because of the drought, right? And it seems to be a big challenge for us to not see the evidence right in front of our faces when it affects. So I think the job of any artist is not really point an accusing finger, but shine a light on what we're actually seeing and reflect that back to them.
Past the point of no return, but we close our eyes as forests burn, as oceans rise. We never learn, never realize that there's 10 years left, right? But we still stay in denial. We all say we've still got a while to maintain our precious lifestyle, but there's 10 years left, right? 10 years left, 10 years right, marching towards the end of life as we know it, unless we can show that we can turn this ship around real fast, work together or we won't last, to see our children grow. There's just one last chance to blow. 10 years left to get this right. The doomsday clock is winding down. Tick tock, it's getting loud, but all the talk around the town is that there's 10 years left, right? So we still lay pipes and spew our fumes. Billionaires gripe from their boardrooms. They say it's just hype, that we're all doomed, but there's 10 years left, right? 10 years left, 10 years right, marching towards the end of life as we know it, unless we can can show that we can turn this ship around real fast. Work together or we won't last. To see our children grow, there's just one last chance to blow. 10 years left to get this right. Long as the sun comes up in the mornings, we seem to dream that we're okay. Long as we ignore the warnings, this will not go away. This will not go away. Is it too much to ask that when it's time to go to bed, that there's a meal in your belly and a roof over your head? Is it too much to expect that in the morning when you rise, that the sun shining down finds some hope in your eyes? This country is rich, we know this to be true, but that wealth is in the hands of the fortunate few. So there's a new conversation in the Global Cafe. Let's all sit down together and find a better way, find a better way. Is it too much to ask for a job with a wage that gives you a chance when you reach your old age? Is it too much to wish for a system that's fair, that shows a little compassion and a willingness to share? This country is rich, we know this to be true, but that wealth is in the hands of the fortunate few. So there's a new conversation in the Global Cafe. Let's all sit down together and find a better way, find a better way. Should those few be rewarded for their selfish greed, while the rest of us struggle for basic human dignity? That's the question before us. Now is our time to let our voices be heard. We're the 99. This country is rich, we know this to be true, but that wealth is in the hands of the fortunate few. So there's a new conversation in the Global Cafe. Let's all sit down together and find a better way, find a better way.
Yeah, indeed. You know, and one of the really subtle things I think that's in this record, certainly the way I pick it up, is it's very balanced, really. You know, it's easy to get argumentative and pick a side, but, you know, the system as it is really one of the two battles we're on, right? One is the climate getting people
Yeah.
to either believe it or not. And then even when you do recognize, now you have to battle the system.
I know.
So as a politician, you were in that so-called
Yeah.
system. So talk
Yeah.
to that.
Well, in fact, was being in that system. I only ran for office thinking I'd spent a generation being the guy out in front of City Hall or Queen's Park, wherever, with a protest sign, going, okay, what would it be like to be protesting from the inside there? However, being on the inside, you could see how much that system is broken, and this is probably the more radical thought that's behind my whole show about climate change, is that I don't think we'll get anywhere until we smash extreme capitalism. And that's the system that we're talking about, because every climate crisis incident you can point to, you can trace it back usually to corporate greed. Right? And that seems to fly beneath the radar too. So we need to be more aware of that. Capitalism is every man and woman for his or herself, and we need to move towards a system where we have to care and nurture not only the planet we live on, but one another as well.
Well, it wasn't made for you.
Wasn't made for you.
It wasn't made for me.
Wasn't made for me.
It was made for who?
Made for who?
Is at the top of the heap. Well, now listen to me.
Listen.
When I say the system isn't broken, it was made that way. The system isn't broken, it was made that way. Well, now it isn't fair.
Isn't fair.
It's not supposed to be.
Not supposed to be.
'Cause they don't care.
They don't care.
And can't you see? Well, now listen to me.
Listen.
When I say the system isn't broken, it was made that way. The system isn't broken, it was made that way. Well, you think our social fabric has been torn. It was ripped right from the start. From that sorry day that you were born, it was meant to keep us and them apart. Well, the system isn't wrecked,
Isn't wrecked.
'cause it was meant
It was meant
to protect
to protect.
the 1%. Well, now listen to me.
Listen.
When I say the system isn't broken, it was made that way. The system isn't broken, it was made that way.
System isn't broken. It was
Made that way. The system isn't broken, it was made that way. Well, it was built to last
built to last.
by the upper
By
class.
the upper class.
Built on greed,
Built on greed.
not democracy.
Not democracy.
It wasn't made for you,
Wasn't made for you.
and it wasn't made for me.
Wasn't made for me.
It wasn't made for you.
Wasn't made for you.
It wasn't even made for me.
Wasn't made for me.
It wasn't made. It wasn't made. It wasn't made. It wasn't made. It wasn't made for you. It wasn't made for me. It wasn't made for you. It wasn't made for you. It wasn't made for me. It wasn't made for you. It wasn't even made for you. It wasn't. We don't talk about climate. That's not our style. 'cause we find that every time it gets everybody all riled. So we tell them what they wanna hear, that it's okay. We say there's not a thing to fear, that's the Canadian way. We serve them palatable pablum, we tell them everything is grand. So at election time we'll have them eating out of our hand. We tell all those fine folks not to worry one bit, 'cause climate change is all a hoax, it's just weird hippie shit. Our climate policies are mild, 'cause we're conservative, but we like to go wild when we're cutting services. We thought the Paris Accord was a kind of French card. We don't think we can afford to think ahead too far. Do we want to make things better for the next generation? Well, to be honest, no we don't. Not if it raises our rich supporters' taxation, 'cause then we lose too many votes. We serve them palatable pablum, we tell them everything's just grand. So at election time we'll have them eating out of our hand. We tell all those folks not to worry one bit, 'cause climate change is all a hoax, just some weird hippie shit.
Yeah, you have great songs in there that do challenge the listener as an individual to get off the consumerism, get off the oil.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that you know, the listener oftentimes becomes accusatory, and
Yeah.
we have to recognize, you know, people that have reached a certain age that this has all happened under our watch, and
Yeah.
you don't let us off the hook. I like that approach.
That's right. Although, you know, I actually misused it earlier about pointing a finger at it. No listener wants to have your finger pointed at them. What engages them is more of a conversation. I'm sometimes honored when I give a performance, if someone comes up after the show and says, you know, it feels like you were really speaking to me when you were singing. And that means I'm doing something that they identify with, instead of throwing shade on them, throwing light, saying, hey, we're in this together. What can we do?
I might as well admit it. They said I am hooked. Sometimes I don't get it. But if I take a look at myself, take a look at myself, I gotta get off, gotta get off, gotta get off, gotta get off, gotta get off of the oil. Just a casual user. When it all began, now I'm a substance abuser. Things are out of hand now. It's first thing in the morning. It's the last thing that I do. I ignored all of the warning. Black tide on the bayou. I might as well admit it. They said I am hooked. Sometimes I don't get it. If I take a look sometimes I don't get it. If I take a look at myself, take a look at myself, you know I gotta get up, gotta get up, gotta get up, gotta get up, gotta get off of the oil. I need my fix, and I need it today. And BP is my dealer, but they're making Louisiana pay. Oh, Louisiana, oh, Louisiana, oh, Louisiana. You know I gotta get up, gotta get up, gotta get up, gotta get up, gotta get up for the oil.
Yeah, you know, the songs speak for themselves. They're very direct. They're unambiguous. But I want you to talk to me about really the use of the comedy, because
Yeah.
there's so many funny, laugh out loud parts, which again is really not that common in music.
Right.
But especially when you're singing and writing about serious stuff, you know.
Sure.
So tell me about that approach. You had mentioned again that you do use comedy, but
Yeah. Well, I actually, I was one of the luckiest songwriters in Canada for quite a number of years. I was the songwriter in residence for a Canadian radio show called Basic Black, hosted by a real Canadian legend, Arthur Black. And my job, and it was kind of, for your American listeners, it was a little bit like Prairie Home Companion. That was that same sort of feel. But anyway, I had to write a song every week that was meant to be humorous, and it was meant to be topical, based on one of the interviews that they did the previous week or topic that is on people's minds. And I had to start cranking those things out every week. So I turned my art into a craft a little bit. Do you know what I mean? You know, just okay, how can I do this and deliver it by Tuesday afternoon? But what I learned from it is that those things I would write in a day. I would bleed and sweat over my regular singer-songwriters things. And those comedic ones were often the ones that people would remember. And the most requested ones at my shows, for instance. And I think it's because we do need laughter as a release. So I use it as a doorway, I think, into a deeper discussion. Because if you make them laugh and you make them comfortable and they feel safe with you, then you can start diving deeper into some other issues, right?
We're all chasing the American dream, all the way to the top. To get there, you gotta be mean, not green, but I'll be damned if we're gonna stop. I'll be damned if we're gonna stop. No one gave us a helping hand. Why should we give one to you? Look at me, I'm a self-made man. I didn't get there crying the blues. I didn't get there crying the blues. Maybe we took our kids' future away by ignoring the signs of climate change. You gotta take what you can take, that's the way things work. Don't you hippies understand it? If we actually cared about the planet, we wouldn't have elected a big-ass jerk. We wouldn't have elected a big-ass jerk. us richer, yeah, life's a bitch. So it'd make us richer, life's a bitch. We get to be total assholes too when we pick assholes for leaders. We're clearly not thinking about you when we choose those bottom feeders. When we choose those bottom feeders. Maybe we took our kids' future away by ignoring the signs of climate change. You gotta take what you can take, that's the way things work. Don't you hippies understand it? If we actually cared about the planet, we wouldn't have elected a big ass jerk. We wouldn't have elected a big ass jerk. The right wing motto is more, 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 and you commies want less, less, less. Let us praise the rich and screw the poor, and leave the next generation a mess. Mean, not green. Greed's our creed. Mean, not green. Greed's our creed. Unapologetically. You call me lazy, an eco-terrorist too, spending my days sponging off for rich dudes like you. But we're on to you now. There's no giving, just taking. We're here to show you how. You are sadly mistaken. You call me freeloader, but take a load of this for free. Mr. Big CEO, you're the freeloader, not me. Buddy, get your facts straight. It's you that gets a free ride with your bailouts and tax breaks, the blood money you hide. Who's abusing the system? Who's sucking it dry? And in case that you miss them, I got friends outside who don't much like you rich dorks. So take a warning by me. We're coming with pitchforks. Just you wait and see. You say you worked hard. Well, I'm sure you did, Jack. But you hold every card in a deck that is stacked. If you don't include us all in this game that you play, that house of cards will fall down on you someday. All the work's gone offshore to maximize profit. You corporate whores, it's time to come off it. You say we don't want your jobs. Well, I wouldn't want yours when you're fending off mobs from your big mansion's doors. Who's abusing the system? Who's sucking it dry? And in case that you miss them, I got friends outside who don't mind much like you rich dorks. So take a warning from me. We'll be coming with pitchforks. Just you wait and see.
Yeah, you could establish that, again, as one of the songs says, that we are on the same side here.
Yes, that's right.
We tend to forget that very easily. The role of art in the fight, and there's a great line in the last song. Do you see the whole thing really as, without getting hallelujah here, as a fight of spirit?
Oh, yeah, that's a good way to put it, Adrian. Yeah, thanks for that. Because going back to Greta Thunberg there, the House on Fire reference, that is dispiriting in itself, to realize how much trouble we're in. And if it makes you give up and turn away, that's not helpful. But if we maintain our collective spirits, the kind of, if we learn how to work within community and support one another, I think it gives you an element of hope. I think it makes it feel like there are things that we can address. And at the same time, even just hearing my voice saying that, you don't want it to be just platitudes. It has to be meaningful. So that's why towards the end of the live show that I do, we actually have a discussion about, okay, in this community, here in Sault Ste. Marie, what can we all do collectively in our community that'll start to make a difference? And so it's led to some direct action too, which I'm pretty proud of.
Yeah, thanks for inspiring the action, for sure.
Under the same beautiful moon, under the same star-filled sky, tonight it's just me and you. Let's leave our differences behind, 'cause we're all on the same side. Human beings on a cosmic ride, watching the comets glide up above. Tell me why, oh why, must another day go by, living in a world that's not guided by love? There is no logic to it, this wonderful joining of our hearts. Common sense says we shouldn't do it. Our values seem so far apart. We share this same delicate planet, so it makes even less sense to me. Sometimes I just don't understand, why can't we all just agree that we're all on the same side? Human beings on a cosmic ride, watching the comets glide up above. Tell me why, oh why, must another day go by, living in a world that's not guided by love? Since we're all in this together, let's look at the possibilities. Let's take a look at whether we can shift humanity. so we're all on the same side. We're on the same side. Things were pretty good before they got a lot worse, before the ice cap melted and the pipeline burst, when there was still enough water to quench our thirst in the dying days.
In the dying days.
In the dying days.
In the dying days.
In the dying days of the empire of oil. Summer's warm and dry, winter's mild too. We enjoyed it while it lasted, what else could we do? We could see what was coming, but it didn't seem true in the dying days.
In the dying days.
In the dying days.
In the dying days.
In the dying days of the empire of oil. Nobody saw the coming storm all over town. Things look kinda normal. Tommy's taking Tammy to the formal in the dying days.
In the dying days.
In the dying days.
In the dying days.
In the dying days of the empire of oil. In a rented limo, they cruise down Main, past the boarded up stores. Things look pretty much the same. Tammy hears the thunder, but it never rains in the dying days.
In the dying days.
In the dying days.
In the dying days.
In the dying days of the empire of oil. People still went to work every day, at least the ones who still had jobs anyway. You could look around and think that things were okay in the dying days.
In the dying days.
In the dying days.
In the dying days.
In the dying days of the empire of oil. In the dying days.
In the dying days.
In the dying days.
In the dying days.
In the dying days of the empire of oil.
Does the musical still play? Does it tour?
I haven't got it back. I want to get it back live now that COVID has been a little bit easier for us to tour, but I haven't done that mostly because right now I'm busy hustling my other new album and getting that out there. And I think I'll get back to it in the fall probably. So.
Yeah, and, my apologies that we're not talking about wrinkles and
Oh,
scars.
no, don't worry.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
we if we could, we should set another time and just talk about that because there's high comedy again right there. But
sure. Well, there actually is one song on the album that is quite geared toward climate change, and that's the very first one, "The Wild Wind Blows." So we could weave that into the conversation if you want.
We absolutely can.
An update.
Yeah. Well, seeing as it does come after, and we're looking 4 years down the road.
Sure.
Talk about that song in particular.
Yeah. Shall I do that now?
Yeah.
Sure. So on my new album, "Wild Wind Blows" is the title track. The album is called "Wrinkles and Scars," and the writing of that song, "Wild Wind Blows," came about when I was touring last summer out on Canada's west coast, seeing all the wildfire smoke in the air. Everyone I would speak to seemed quite disturbed about it, and yet I was pretty sure that North America being covered in smoke would lead people into more action, thinking, geez, something's going on here, we better do something. I wasn't seeing that. So I wrote the song sort of going, well, wait a minute. What the hell? We've got to do something about here, and the evidence is right in front of us, and we're talking in April now. We'll probably start seeing, when will you start seeing that evidence where you are? About towards the end of May, maybe, eh? And it was disappointing to me that when I wrote that climate show, the issues are all still the same, and we've still been too inactive about it. So I dropped that song onto the new album almost as a continuation of the story.
The wild wind blows through the valley, the fire grows by the day. It's time to go, come on, Sally. That fatal glow is coming our way. 7 generations now on this family farm. Somehow we made it through floods and drought. We made it through the Dust Bowl, and we managed to bounce back again when the bankers tried to close us out. The wild wind blows through the valley, the fire grows by the day. It's time to go, come on, Sally. Fatal blow is coming our way. Well, feel that heat, it's closing in, close enough to scratch your skin. Sal, it's time to set the horses free. You'd think that all that thick black smoke would wake up all the anti-woke, but they stay too blind to see. The wild wind blows through the valley, the fire grows by the day. Time to go, coming our way. While the earth is black, the sky is red, most of us still keep our heads in the smoldering sand. When the haze blocks out the sun, Sal, it's time for us to run. But where can we go in this troubled land? Wild wind blows through the valley, the fire grows by the day. It's time to go, come on, Sally.
Yeah, well, I'm afraid that you're going to have to include those kinds of songs on all of your records going forward.
Yes,
Because,
probably. Yeah.
I mean, history has already shown inactivity.
Yeah.
And in the face of evidence, it still is astonishing that you got to write these songs still to say what is going on.
Actually, Adrian, you alluded to something a little earlier that's relevant here, where I do this kind of work sometimes as a nudge to my compatriots in this trade, going, okay, there was a time, like particularly in the 1960s, where the songwriters were leaders of protest movements, right? And songs were used as anthems and spirit lifters, and we kind of got away from that. And, I mentioned capitalism before. I think that got eroded when the music business became overly corporatized. So I keep raising that flag and hoping that some of my other peers will do the same, because we need to be leaders again in that.
Poison in the water, poison in the air, poison in the hardened hearts of billionaires who raped our planet, left it to bleed, and who sacrificed our future to feed their great greed. Do we want to bring a child into this world? Do we want to bring a child into this worn out world? Are we in the final days of the Anthropocene? Do we have to search the earth for the last patch of green? If we raised one up when it's all falling down, when our dreams all seem to be scattered on the ground, do we want to bring a child into this world? Do we want to bring a child into this worn out world? If we raised a tiny person, would it look back at us, raging and cursing and coughing up toxic dust? Would they stand half a chance with what we left for them, or with the gift of time? Would they somehow find a way back again? Do we want to raise a child into this world? Do we want to raise a child into this worn out world? If you head north, there's still a couple county roads that you can travel. Look pretty much the way they did in pioneer days. Green fields and silos past where the pavement turns to gravel. Gingerbreaded Georgian farmhouses down maple-shaded lanes. Little corners of the country corporate pirates haven't plundered. So few and far between now, there isn't any wonder why the moon is crying when it looks down from the sky and it sees a world that's dying. It's a death by suicide. It's a death by suicide. There are a few lonesome lakes left where you can drop your line in and catch a fish that is considered safe enough to eat. A little wilderness not wasted by clear cutting and strip mining. Some deer paths still untouched by human feet. Still some pure pristine water, some unspoiled land. But it's so hard to find now that you can't understand why the moon looks like it's crying when it looks down from the sky and it sees a world that's dying. It's a death by suicide. It's a death by suicide. Carpetbaggers and scammers, conmen and flim-flammers, these are our leaders today. They've made off like bandits with our precious planet and sold it all away. Sees a world that's dying. It's a death by suicide. It's a death by suicide.
Yeah, James, this has been awesome. I wish I could talk to you, and I'm going to set up with our mutual friend there, the musical commentator and the shameless idealist. I love the way he puts that. That he puts in there. Of course, we're talking about your publicist. We'll go unnamed, shamelessly, not naming him. And I also want to mention too that I hope to see you coming here to the Sioux because you. I know, again, we have mutual friends there from the Black Fly Jam, Robin McIntyre and Ed Poldma, and they nudged me along going on a year or so about the Great Lakes Odyssey that I must get you on. So when are you coming here?
Nice. Yeah, I've been talking to Robin and Ann about getting up there, and it seems to be a challenge with everyone's calendars, but I hope to get there in the fall. So we'll keep you posted about that.
You certainly will, and so will they. So,
yeah. Good.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Talking to you. Yeah, and it's inspiring to hear. And when I dug in a little bit about the great work that you're doing too. So keep it up.
Appreciate that. Great.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Hey, man. All the best.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Right.
Really cool to talk with you.
Take care. And hopefully I'll see you in person in the fall.
You got it.
Great.
Adios.
Thanks a lot, Adrian.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
I still find myself down at the wishing well. I still drink from its healing waters. If we have a hope in hell to leave something for our sons and daughters, it's that our true spirit will prevail to bring us back from beyond the pale. Don't you weep and don't you wail. We can do this if we try. We can do this, we can do this, we can do this if we try. We can do this, we can do this, we can do this if we try. If the armies all laid down their swords and picked up shovels instead, and they united for a new kind of war, one that could show us a way ahead. If they could plant 1 trillion trees, we could return this crying earth to green. To help us breathe, help to set us free. We can do this if we try. We can do this, we can do this, we can do this if we try. We can do this, we can do this, we can do this if we try. If we have all hands on board for the epic task at hand, combining forces we could move towards a vibrant reborn land. When hope leaves us behind we grieve, but together if we all believe that we can overcome this tyranny, we can do this if we try. We can do this, we can do this, we can do this if we try. We can do this, we can do this, we can do this if we try. Get up, stand up, don't give up the fight. Get up, stand up, we can make this wrong alright. Can do this, we can do this, we can do this if we try. We can do this, we can do this, we can do this if we try. It was a great big brand new Calvinator, first one on the street. Came in the back of the Eaton's truck in the muggy August heat. We all gathered round to watch as Grandpa plugged it in. He announced when the light went on, now the new age begins. Every day we used to head down to the corner grocer. Local food from farmers we knew. Mama said it made the neighbors closer. That fridge, it was so big, we didn't have to go out every day. You could buy frozen food that lasted, and it came from far away. The bigger stores with the stuff to fill it all were at the edge of town. So after a while we moved there too. The corner grocery, it closed down. That supermarket food in packages would last for about a year. Ever since we got that fridge, things sure are different around here. Grandma stopped canning and preserving. There was no point anymore. There was fruit from California all year round at that giant store. Besides, when we moved to the suburbs, we took all the best farmland. We have to get our food from somewhere else. It's all part of a global plan. And the price of gas went up, and my job, it got downsized. Somewhere along the way, we started to realize that we needed to think smaller, more local to survive. And the neighborhoods, they started to feel a little more alive. Now I got a brand new refrigerator, not much more than a cubic foot, energy efficient, and it's just big enough to put a day or two of groceries in it. So it makes me get out and walk down to that new corner grocer. Me and the owner, we like to talk about a new way of living, a new local plan. I'm gonna get Grandma to teach me how to put up peaches in cans. And I took that big old Calvinator, put it on its back out in the yard, took off the door, filled it with soil, and planted me a little Swiss chard.
I'll just do the website one, the borderline.ca. Okay.
Well, we earned all these wrinkles, we earned all these scars, and we wear them like badges, 'cause we made it this far. We got near as many as those twinkling stars. We earned all these wrinkles, we earned all these scars.
Hi, folks. It's James Gordon here, coming to you from Guelph, Ontario, and I'm very pleased to have learned that borderline.ca is helping spread the word about my new album, my 42nd one, and so it's an honor to be able to say, folks, that you are listening to the borderline.ca.
All these wrinkles, we earned all these scars, and we wear them like badges, 'cause we made it this far. We got near as many as those twinkling stars. We earned all these wrinkles, we earned all these scars.
We've gone across the tracks. This has been a Borderline Entertainment production.